This is Dr. Someshwar from Shield Healthcare. I hope everyone doing good. And I welcome you all on to the Menopause series by Dr. Payal Bhargav, a co-founder of Divine Magic Foundation. Before starting the talk, let me take privilege to introduce Dr. Payal Bhargav ma'am, who is a postgraduate diploma in ART from and reproductive medicine from Kiel, Germany. And she did her fellowship in infertility from IMA Hyderabad, and she is a life member of IMA Menopause Society India and PCOS Society India. She is a member of Managing Committee of PCOS Society India and co-founder and director on board XPS Analytics Private Limited, and consultant at Sri Krishna Diagnostic Center, and also consultant at Pranada Hospital, Hyderabad. And she is a co-founder for Divine Magic Foundation, a public health and awareness initiative working at grassroots level and digitally through its YouTube channel. Now, without much further ado, let me turn over the time to Dr. Payal Bhargav to take over the session.
Everyone, and welcome to our series on sailing through menopause. In the last episode, I spoke about thyroid disorders in menopause. Today, we'll be talking about another endocrine disorder, that is PCOS and menopause. Welcome. PCOS is another important and very common endocrine disorder in our country affecting the younger generation. Let's see what is PCOS. It is a disease that affects the endocrine, metabolic, and reproductive symptoms and manifests in the reproductive age group. It is a heterogeneous disorder characterized by excess androgen, that is, excess of male hormone in a female, production by the ovaries that interferes with the reproductive, endocrine, and metabolic functions in a woman. So how common is PCOS? It is an alarming fact that in India, the number of women affected by PCOS is increasing every day. It affects 1 in 10 women and the ratio is increasing. So when do we say that a woman is suffering from PCOS? It is when she has irregular periods, she has excess of male hormone, and multiple cysts in the ovaries. Usually, when you have either 25 or more follicles on an ultrasound scan, or when your ovarian size is more than 10 centimeter, oligo or anovulation, that is, the eggs are not being produced regularly, and there are signs of hyperandrogenism, that is, excess of male sex hormone in your blood, then it is diagnosed as PCOS. So which type of PCOS do you have? There are usually 4 types of PCOS: type A, type B, type C, and type D. Now, as a woman ages, it is important for her to know which type of PCOS she is suffering with, because all the 4 types have different symptoms and different manifestations at menopause. At menopause, you will find that patients of PCOS who have high levels of androgens will suffer more and have more manifestations of all the metabolic disorders that a woman in PCOS has. So what do you complain of when you have PCOS? Generally, the women suffering from PCOS complain of hair loss, hirsutism, that is more of hair on upper lip and chin and in the central part of body, that is chest and upper abdomen. They'll complain of pelvic pain. They'll complain of sudden weight gain. Acne will be there. The periods will be irregular. Sometimes they will have once in 2 months, once in 3 months, or maybe once in a year too. They will have problem in conceiving, and there will be high testosterone level in the blood. So let's understand how PCOS and menopause are related and why are we talking about it. Now, there is abnormal fetal growth, premature adrenarche, and early menarche in a young girl suffering from PCOS. That is because of the hormonal changes that occur in her due to PCOS. Now, as the child grows, during adolescence, she will complain of menstrual irregularity, hirsutism, that is excess of hair on upper lip and chin and central part of body, and there will be acne. Now, this is a time when usually the mothers bring their kids to the doctor because of complaint of irregular menses, acne, hirsutism, and maybe weight gain or obesity at this stage. It is important to control PCOS at this stage of the disease. Now, why it is said? Because as the young girl grows and becomes an adult, she will have problem in conceiving. That is, it leads to infertility. Even if the woman conceives, she will have miscarriage or abortion will occur, and pregnancy complications do occur in PCOS women. So now after she completes a family and she achieves menopause, the PCOS woman also suffers from obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, and hypertension. So now we know in our earlier videos that menopause also causes central obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, hypertension, and metabolic syndrome. So as we can see in this chart here, that as the woman of PCOS progresses to menopausal age, she has all these symptoms. Now, these symptoms are already happen or exist in a menopausal woman. So the correlation is that if you have PCOS, it makes 1 + 1 is equal to 2. That is, if you have both PCOS and menopause, the diseases like obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, and hypertension will double. So as the PCOS progresses, it leads to obesity and metabolic syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cardiovascular disease, depression and anxiety, obstructive sleep apnea, infertility, endometrial cancer, and type 2 diabetes. So I hope you understood how PCOS and menopause are related and how both the symptoms when a woman reaches at menopause overlap and have a doubling effect on the disease factors. So coming again to this question, does PCOS exist at menopause? Now, most of the patients think that as PCOS occurs and they have irregular periods, obesity, and infertility problems, all these things will disappear at menopause, or it is not continued, the PCOS is not continued till menopause. So it is not the case. PCOS is a lifelong disease. It is detrimental to a woman's quality of life and results in long-term morbidity. Now, from 15 years to 55 years, at 15 years when the woman is first diagnosed of PCOS, by the time she reaches the age of 55 years, she has cardiovascular events, type 2 diabetes, and her risk of getting an endometrial cancer is very high. So how does a woman know that she is suffering from PCOS at menopause? Now, at menopause, the criteria to diagnose a woman with PCOS no longer becomes applicable as the cardinal features disappear. The menses ceases, ovarian morphology changes, and the volume of the ovaries, which was 10 centimeters before at the time of diagnosis of PCOS, is no more there. Testosterone levels may no longer be higher. So all women with PCOS experience increasing insulin resistance and abdominal adiposity, along with chronic inflammation and dyslipidemia with age, and a specific increase in LDL across the menopausal transition. So you can be suffering from PCOS in menopause if you are already diagnosed with PCOS at an early age. As I stated, it is a lifelong disease. So once a PCOS patient, you will always be a PCOS patient. Like how once you are diagnosed with diabetes or hypertension, it is not cured. The disease is always there, but yes, you can control it. Like how you control your diabetes and hypertension, you can also control your PCOS. There is a past diagnosis of PCOS, a long-term history of irregular menstrual cycles, and hypoandrogenism or PCOM during the reproductive years. So these patients are suffering from PCOS during menopause. There's continuing evidence of hyperandrogenism. Now, what do we mean by hyperandrogenism? It means that there's excess of male hormone. What does male hormone does? It leads to frontal baldness. You will see men will have baldness in the front. So this is what a woman suffers from, and she will have excess of facial hair on the chin and the lips, which usually men have, and in the central part of the body, that is in between chest and in the upper abdomen. So postmenopausal women presenting with new onset, severe or worsening hyperandrogenism. That means that the woman which is now presenting with hyperandrogenism didn't have it earlier. So what does that mean? Is that woman suffering from PCOS? Yes, maybe she may be suffering from PCOS, which was not diagnosed earlier, or she has some tumor which is producing more of male hormone in her, which is very common during menopause. As the woman ages, the cancer risk also increases. So maybe she is suffering from some tumor which is causing this hyperandrogenism or the male hormone to be produced more in her body. So clinical presentation of PCOS at menopause is limited to physical features of hyperandrogenism, because the other criteria which are there for diagnosing a woman of PCOS, or when she can say, yes, I'm suffering from PCOS because I have irregular periods. Now, irregular periods is not happening in menopause. The periods have already stopped. So the only criteria where we can think that you are suffering from PCOS is hyperandrogenism or the excess of male hormone. So now, as we already know that in menopause, there is insulin resistance. That is, you will develop diabetes once you age and you reach menopause because of, we know, depletion of estrogen hormone. It leads to very many symptoms in a woman. The absence of estrogen, which is a super hormone in a woman. So it leads to insulin resistance, it will lead to obesity, it will lead to high blood pressure, and it leads to heart problems because of something called as metabolic syndrome. Now, similarly in PCOS, these women also suffer from insulin resistance or diabetes. So you already have, you are a PCOS woman and you already have these symptoms. Now, when you enter in menopause, then menopause will also add to all these symptoms of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. So hyperinsulinemia has been seen in postmenopausal women with PCOS. Now, metabolic alterations such as insulin resistance after menopause makes them more susceptible to type 2 diabetes mellitus. So if you have PCOS and you are entering menopause, there are chances that you will become more susceptible to developing diabetes. Similarly, dyslipidemia. Now, what is dyslipidemia? It is an alteration in your lipid profile. We get the lipid test done, and most of us will be aware of it, that dyslipidemia is more prevalent in the postmenopausal woman with PCOS than without PCOS. Similarly, what I mean to say is, during menopause, the lipid profile is altered. That is, you will have high cholesterol, you will have high triglycerides, the LDL part of the lipid will be high, which is a bad cholesterol, and HDL will be low, which is a good cholesterol. So you should have more of HDL to protect your heart, but that is not there in menopause. Similarly, PCOS patients also have the same problem. So if you have both, the problem will add up. Now, cardiovascular risk, as a woman ages, her heart becomes weak. In the same situation, in PCOS women, we have discussed 4 subtypes, A, B, C, and D. Now, in the subtype where they have more of androgen hormone, those patients of PCOS, not the other women, the women who have more of androgen or the male hormone excess will have more chance of getting a heart attack. So in a subgroup of PCOS women with high androgen levels after menopause, the cardiovascular risk remains increased and may affect the morbidity. Now coming to cancer. Now we all know that as we age, the chances of us getting cancer gets higher. Now what happens in a PCOS woman? The women with PCOS have a 6-fold increased risk of endometrial cancer. Why? What is endometrial cancer? It is the cancer of the uterus or the lining of the uterus. Like when we have periods, what is period is this lining of the uterus gets shed. Now in PCOS women, as I stated earlier, they have irregular periods. Like they will have periods once in 3 months, once in 4 months, or sometimes once in a year. So this lining keeps on getting thick, 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 and ultimately it leads to cancer. That is called endometrial cancer. So women with PCOS have a 6-fold increased risk of endometrial cancer, a tripling of endocrine gland cancer. What are the endocrine glands? We have discussed about thyroid and other hormones like diabetes, like pancreas. So all this, there's tripling of endocrine gland cancers in a PCOS woman. There's doubling in the risk of ovarian and pancreatic cancers. So once woman reaches menopause status, however, their cancer risk was comparable to that of women without a history of PCOS. That is, PCOS leads to all these cancers earlier in life. Whereas when a woman who doesn't have PCOS reaches the stage of menopause, she will have the same frequency of getting or chances of getting a cancer as a PCOS woman. So how do we manage? Now, suppose a woman has both PCOS also and menopause also. So we have seen that in the earlier videos about menopause, that lifestyle medications plays a huge role in management or reducing the symptoms of menopause. Similarly, in PCOS also, lifestyle modification plays a major role. So ultimately what we are coming to is, or what we understand by both of them is that if you maintain a healthy lifestyle of doing a moderate exercise, having an adequate sleep, what is recommended is usually from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., eating a healthy diet, which is rich in green leafy vegetables and fruits, less of fats and sweets, you manage your stress, and you take some essential supplements which are recommended, like vitamin D, which is recommended for both PCOS and menopause, calcium supplement. So all these will reduce your suffering of menopause and PCOS both. Now, PCOS and menopause, as we see, they lead to too many things, like they lead to hyperlipidemia, obesity, you will have heart problem, you have diabetes, you have blood pressure, and everything is increased. So we need a multidisciplinary team. What do I mean by that? That you need doctors of different specialty to treat it. Like for treating diabetes, you need to go to an endocrine specialist or a physician. For getting an endometrial cancer, irregular periods, or other menopausal symptoms, you need to see a gynecologist. You also need a nutritional counseling for maintaining a healthy diet. So a multidisciplinary team is required, like lifestyle plan and support, treatment of hyperandrogenic symptoms, endometrial protection, contraception, fertility counseling, psychological and behavioral support, nutritional counseling, and metabolic screening and intervention for a proper and complete management of both. So the key messages are, it is important to understand that although the name PCOS refers to the ovary, the full form is polycystic ovarian disease or syndrome. So the condition is not just limited to ovaries. It is not. It is a systemic one. That is, it involves other organs also, like heart. We have discussed heart, kidney, and all the other organs also. So androgen excess favors the development of abdominal adiposity, insulin resistance, compensatory hyperinsulinemia, and further androgen excess in women with PCOS. So it forms a vicious circle that predisposes these women to metabolic dysfunction and cardiovascular risk. So the phenotype of PCOS, as I've told, the one with more of male hormone has higher risk for cardiometabolic disease in patients with PCOS. So we need to be more aware and conscious about women who already have PCOS and hyperandrogenism, both. And when they enter into menopausal stage, we have to control everything, that is their diabetes, their blood pressure, their sleeping habits, and their exercise regime or the program they are following, a proper weight, everything has to be maintained to prevent the worsening of symptoms during menopause or when they enter menopause. Because menopause also predisposes to all those things and it adds up. The suffering adds up. So therapeutic strategies currently in use for PCOS, including lifestyle modification, oral contraceptives, anti-androgens, as I said that the male hormone is increased, so we need to give medicine which lowers them, and insulin sensitizers are used throughout the lifespan, such that these women enter menopause with a healthy metabolic profile. So what I said mean by this is, if we control the symptoms of PCOS so that when the woman ages further and she reaches the age of menopause, when she achieves menopause, she is taken all these parameters of PCOS, which also are going to increase in menopause, are taken care of and are controlled with lifestyle management, which is the mainstay, and controlling of weight, blood pressure, and diabetes. So thank you so much for your patient hearing.